Hi, kindergarten. Look who's here. Can you see him? Teddy's here. He wants to sit with us for our religion read aloud. So I'm going to read to you today from the Children's New Testament. Now, some of you may have this at home. This is going to be page 2 of our special Lenten story that we started at school. Do you remember way back, like it was probably 3 weeks ago, and we did page 1 of our special book, and page 1 was Jesus entering Jerusalem. Do you remember that? And we drew a picture. You drew a picture of Jesus on a donkey with his friends, the disciples, and they went into Jerusalem and people were so excited to see them. Well, we are going to read the story about what happened next, and then that's what you're going to do for page 2 of your special book. Now, what happened next was called the Last Supper. Now, some of you probably know the story of the Last Supper, but I'm going to read it to you. This is a story that doesn't have a lot of pictures, so I'm going to read you the words, and then I'm going to show you a picture from the book that we had read here the week that led to Easter. So first, let's read about the Last Supper. Okay, so there's a part of this that I want you to be listening especially for, and I'll let you know when it is, okay? The Last Supper. A few days before the feast of the Passover, which reminded the Jews of when God freed them from being slaves in Egypt, Jesus' disciples asked him where they should have the special meal. "Go to Jerusalem," said Jesus to Peter and John. "There you will meet a man carrying a jar of water. Follow him to his house. We will have our meal there in a room upstairs." The 2 men went to Jerusalem and found the house. They made the room ready, and that evening Jesus and the other 10 disciples came upstairs. Before the meal began, Jesus picked up a towel and a bowl of water. He knelt in front of each disciple in turn and washed their feet and dried them with a towel, just like a servant. When he had finished, he said, "You must be ready to serve each other in the same way that I have served you." Then Jesus sat down again at a table. This is where I want you to listen carefully. The disciples watched him quietly. They could see something was wrong. Jesus looked very sad because he knew he wouldn't be with them much longer, but would die soon. At last he said, "One of you will betray me." The disciples were horrified. They all looked at each other and wondered who could it be. And then one who was sitting next to Jesus asked, "Which one of us is it, Lord?" "It is the one I give this bread to," answered Jesus. He broke off a piece of bread, dipped it in a dish, and handed it to Judas Iscariot. "Do what you have to do," he said. Judas Iscariot got up from the table and slipped quickly out of the room and into the night. And then Jesus picked up a loaf of bread and said a prayer to God. He broke up the bread and passed the pieces to the disciples. "Eat this bread, which is my body, and remember me," he said. Then he picked up the cup of wine, said a prayer, and handed it to the disciples. "This is my blood, which I give for many people," he said. "Drink it and remember me." So that's the Last Supper. And those words are familiar to us, right? We talked about them. Eat this bread. It is my body. Remember me. These are words that we hear in Mass, right? Okay. So I wanted to show you a picture in this book. This is one illustrator's drawing of the Last Supper. One person. So they have Jesus, and then they have his disciples around him. And over here, sad, Judas. And so they are here around a table. There's bread, there's wine. So there's probably cups and plates. So you are going to draw a picture for page 2 of the Last Supper, Jesus eating a special meal with his disciples. You'll draw Jesus. He has 12 disciples. That's a lot of people to draw, so you'll need a big table on your picture. And the food and the wine, that's what I want you to draw. In the background, maybe there's windows in the room, right? Things on the wall, things hanging from the ceiling, I don't know. Anyway, you're going to do that picture for page 2 of your special book, okay? I can't wait to see it. Maybe you could send me pictures. I'd love to see them. Remember to do your most careful work. Remember that if you draw it in pencil and then color it in, it's a lot easier to see the detail. So if you want from home, you can choose to color using crayons or colored pencils or markers as long as you are careful, okay? Because this is special. This is something that your family can keep for a long time. So we want to do our most careful work. All right. Good luck, kindergarten. Have fun.